Welcome back. Now, travelling with children can be a tricky route to navigate, from airport tantrums to suitcase squabbles. Our next guest has the Mary Poppins Guide to keeping the kids happy and Mammy and Daddy stress-free.
It's great crack, isn't it, travelling with kids? We're joined now with travel writer Conor Power. Good morning to you, Conor.
Good morning.
Conor, how are you?
All
Very
boys
well.
between us all. We were just chatting during the break.
Yeah, it is. We're really contributing to the GNP of the country, I think.
Yes, exactly. But it's a lovely thing to do for viewers who are getting away for the midterm break that's about to happen. It's lovely, but it can be a little bit stressful.
Yeah, it can be, I suppose. It comes down to planning, I suppose. Maybe that's the one thing I would say, first of all, is plan down to the finer detail. And, you know, that's particularly true if you're travelling with kids for the first time, because it's a completely different ball game, as you know. And it's a case of, well, that favourite hotel that you used to have, maybe if you go up, maybe you have to climb a steep stairs to get to it. You know, you don't want to do that.
And there are things you don't notice, actually, before you have children.
Exactly,
They're just not considerations, a whole row of steps. You don't think about a buggy until you actually have it.
Yes, exactly, yeah.
So your first tip is allow double the time, which I think is very accurate.
Yes, exactly. I mean,
at least.
Yes, at least, because I mean, children are great travellers. They take their time. They're not under any pressure. They don't feel the pressure. I think you just got to accept that they're setting the pace, and just allow double the time. And by that one tip, I think you'll cut out a huge chunk of stress out of the whole thing.
As you said, Conor, so plan ahead, but pack light.
Yes.
This is the thing that I always find when we're going away, even if we're just going down for a couple of nights, wherever. Packing the car, it's like you're moving house, particularly with babies.
It is. It's an army on the move, you know, really. And I think it's when you're going abroad, especially, for example, or you're going for any kind of length of time, it doesn't have to be abroad necessarily. You really have to get it down to the smallest amount. And this is a very, very difficult thing. I think every parent, for the first time, when they go travelling for the first time with their children, they really put too much in, you know, just a monstrous amount of stuff.
It's like you're moving house, really, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
You bring everything that's not nailed down. Yeah. Just in case we need it, we'll bring the change in here.
Totally, or in case I can't get it there.
Yeah, and you can get everything, exactly. You can get everything pretty much anywhere else. I mean, take plenty of the small things like the drugs, obviously, the Calpol and those kind of things. The sanitizers, that's definitely something will be very, very handy. But when it comes to the larger things, the nappies and stuff like that, you know, the buggies and the travel equipment, bring it down to maybe bring a sling and a very small travel buggy. That's it.
Yeah, pare it back.
There's an interesting one there where you say research old-fashioned interactive games.
Yes.
Explain.
Well, I find, like, first of all, okay, a lot of kids are glued to their screens nowadays, and they're wonderful, okay? If it works for you, whatever works for you, first of all, I'd say just go for it. Yeah. But screen time can be as stressful as anything, because, you know, you're listening to the noise of the thing going on all the time, and the whole zombie stares can get you after a while. And plus, it's also your best weapon, so really use it sparingly, I would say. Because there's always a lot of time to kill.
As a last resort.
As a last resort.
If there's a complete freak out and stress, then give them the...
Yeah, it's a good call, actually, rather than them using it from the start.
Yes, exactly.
So
I mean, there's plenty of old-fashioned games, like I Spy in the car now, for example, works very well. Used to work very well for us when my lads were small.
Causes murder in our car, I have to
That's it, okay.
Yeah.
And I mean, and you still But I mean, often, you know, if you put your back into it, I suppose, it can
really,
to it. Absolutely. And like, I mean, our lads, for example, used to really get into it, even the older ones as well. And, you know, they used to evolve the whole thing into all sorts of different variations.
They do actually start to make up their own rules, don't they? Yeah.
Like, I Think With My Brain was the favourite one that one of our lads made up, you know.
Really?
So there you are, you see. You're intrigued already, you know.
Brilliant. The other thing I spotted here, check out child-friendly options at the airport. Now, what kind of things are we missing there, or should we be thinking of?
Well, you might not necessarily be missing them, but I would say that really do a small bit of checking. For example, like in Cork Airport, for example, I know they're doubling their size, you know, in terms of both the lounge and the facilities for children. In Dublin Airport, you know, you have... People mightn't be aware of the fact that there are, you know, baby changing, but also feeding areas available in both the terminals. And, you know, it's a place where you can prepare food, for example, and warm the bottle, put on a microwave, that kind of thing. And even, you know, you can extend that to even asking people to help. A lot of people are very glad to help, you know, just to hold the buggy for a minute. You know, little things like that, and they do make a huge difference in taking the stress off.
Airports are trying to get better in terms of offering options for the kids in terms of entertainment.
They are, yeah.
Well,
Like
it
I
used to
said,
just be
there's
a
a
row
lot
of
of them
slot
really.
machines, but now it's getting better a little bit, isn't it?
It is, you've got kind of corrals, playing areas, for example, supervised as well,
I like the other one you said as well, that to make the journey kind of part of the holiday and get them to track it and get them to
Yeah.
not document it, but
Little diary.
Well,
yeah, but the holiday
yeah.
starts as soon as you get in the car or head to the airport or whatever.
Yes.
Like, keep a diary of it.
Well, yes, keep a diary or keep a tracker. I remember when we were driving one time, through France, they were just, two of them then ended up playing the game, being fascinated by where are we now, draw the red line, and if you get lost yourself, might be
It's
a
all
help,
about, but it's all about distraction because, as we said in the intro, like for Mammy and Daddy, it can be very stressful, can't it? Because you're the one who's thinking, we don't get here now in the next 40 minutes, we're going to miss the thing. You're the one that's panicking. They're great travellers.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
So
Because they're
Your own
never in a
sanity.
hurry.
Yes, so, be going at their pace, but also it's all about distraction. It's sleight of hand, isn't it?
The other thing, Conor, and it's very tempting actually to give children treats. They're on their holidays, there maybe the rules go out the window a little bit.
Yes.
Keep the sugar levels down.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's an awful temptation to go, well, hey, we're on holiday. Here you go.
There really is,
knock yourself
though,
out
isn't
with a
there?
big bag of jelly beans there.
Yeah.
But it's a mistake, as you probably know yourselves, because you just get hyper and you've got a sugar rush followed by, withdrawal symptoms.
A lot of silliness.
A lot of
That
silliness,
last
yeah.
little nugget as well that I found, because we've tripped up on this before, and it sounds so stupid when you do it. Check the passports.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always happening,
But particularly with babies, because the babies are only, 3 years,
Yeah.
and then...
That's right,
And,
yeah.
and you
Keep
know
an eye
yourself,
on
when you've got more than two, you
Yeah.
start to lose track of your entire life sometimes, and losing track of passports is very, very common.
And in fairness, they're getting better at it in terms of getting your application in. They're making it kind of easier in terms you can do it by post.
Yes,
But
and
it's just that whole
online,
thing of dragging them to the chemist to get the photographs done, up to the Garda station, get them signed.
Yeah, there is a bit of a rigmarole involved, isn't
Yeah,
there?
but once it's done,
There is, yeah.
Yeah.
Although nowadays, that's something I didn't check out actually for children, if you can get it done online. But I know for adults now, you can just get it done online.
yeah, you can for adults, you can for children.
You can't for
Yeah,
children,
okay.
exactly. And one other tip I'd add to this list, because I've
Yes.
made the mistake, is make sure you don't grab your child's passport instead of your own.
Well
Because
done,
that's great
Anna.
crack when you put that on the check-in
Yeah.
counter.
Yeah.
Trying to smile.
My God, you've aged.
And embarrassing. Yeah, exactly. Conor, thank you very much.
Thank
Thanks
you
a
very
million,
much.
Conor. Thanks for coming in. Still to come. We've got Halloween costume inspiration for the kids.
Oh, and wait for this. I'm learning the moves to one of the most famous dance routines in history. Yeah, stay with us for that.
Counting the minute.